Okay, everyone. So, if you listened to the episode where we were talking about House of Gucci, then you will know that at the end of that, we had to cut that episode short because being the Ricardos' embargo date and release date was much later. So now we're going to come back and finish our discussion with Val about being the Ricardos. So listen up and enjoy. So,
Yeah.
so let's change gears. Let's go from the Gucci power couple to a golden age of television power couple.
Two period pieces.
Two period pieces. This is being the Ricardos, the story of Lucy and Ricky.
Yeah.
Or Desi, depending on how you'd like to refer to them, but as I Love Lucy or as the actual people.
Yeah, when I first saw that they cast Nicole Kidman in the part of Lucy, I wasn't quite sure. She's hit and miss for me. Sometimes I can totally see her in every movie, and sometimes I do see her character. Not often does she totally melt into the movie. You know, almost always you see Nicole Kidman, and sometimes that's okay. But for this, I really wanted to see Lucy. You know, I think we all kind of, you know, whether you watch the show a lot, I think we all have a little bit of, you know, a love for Lucy because it ties to something in your life or your past, you know, your past.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't really have an issue with Javier Bardem, which I know a lot of people do, as he was cast in this role as Desi, and that he's not Cuban. I'm okay with it. I mean, Nicole Kidman's not American, so I get the difference. Don't totally scold me and send me hate mail. I get the difference between if we're able to cast a Cuban as this part because of how important it was at the time, we should have. But Javier Bardem, he is Desi, man. Like, I'm watching this and you don't want to hate him. It doesn't matter anything that you hear he does in this. He is Desi.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of anyone else after seeing it that we could cast in this part that you could love someone on screen so much, even though you've known all the crappy things that they've done. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think he did a great job.
I have no problem with Javier Bardem. Desi Arnaz is such a unique person and / character because he had his personal persona, a professional life, and then Ricky Ricardo. So there's like three versions of person.
Also a character, like
right.
Ricky
so Javier Bardem is playing three people. He's playing Ricky Ricardo, the husband. He's playing Desi Arnaz, the husband. He's playing Desi Arnaz, the entertainer, and he's playing Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy thing.
No.
At all. And he did a fabulous job. You know, Nicole Kidman, I was just like, I mean, I grew up watching all the Lucys on syndication because I'm old and that's what my grandmother watched. But that and her stories, but that's a separate episode. But no, so Nicole Kidman, I wasn't sold. But as the movie went on, I enjoyed her more when she was playing Lucille Ball than when she was playing Lucy.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, Desi and Ricky, she was good as Lucille, but not Lucy.
And I think she was okay as Lucy. But I also think that may have been like the point is that she was better as Lucille Ball.
Right.
Like even Lucille Ball was better at Lucy. You know what I mean? Like she was put in this category of this quirky comedian that nobody took seriously when she really had so much to do about making this show happen that a lot of people probably don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And Desi had so much to do. Like, who was creating shows on television at the time that wasn't a white male? You know what I mean? So we're getting two stories in one about two people that were breaking some glass ceilings it wasn't being made a big deal at the time because they didn't want anybody else doing it. You know what I mean? Like they got this special golden ticket that was allowed for it to happen for some magical reason. This woman and this brown man, sorry, I'm just going to say it that way,
Yeah.
were given the golden ticket to make this show happen. And it was hard to get it done, and it was a struggle, but they both were really hard workers. He was playing music at night, trying to get shows during the day, trying to get movies, you know, doing all this stuff.
Yep.
She was taking every gig she could get, even though she was probably the most talented woman in the room at the time, because that's, you know, Hollywood didn't allow you to do more than what they wanted you to do.
Especially
So
back in the old
me,
studio days.
yeah, in the old studio days, it was you either have a contract or you don't.
So,
And, you know, women had to do some pretty yucky things to keep their contract. And not all of them were the most talented people in the room. Usually the talented women didn't get kept there very often because they had a voice and they had a brain, you know. So for me, being a woman in entertainment, I really connected with this movie a lot, you know. And I used to watch this show with my grandpa when I was little, you know, and he was hardcore old school Italian grandpa, you know. But we watched it together, and it was one of the only shows that I really thought that I was like, this woman's like in charge. But all of the women in my family were in charge. They, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I do.
so for me, it was the only thing that I really saw on television that mimicked the life I was living, because all the other TV shows, the women were subservient. And I'm like, I don't know what that world is like. These women in my kitchen upstairs are telling all the guys what to do. You know what I mean? Yep. So when I got to see exactly what she was doing and exactly how hard it was for her, and the fact that she fought for Desi, because it was hard enough for her to get recognized, and then she fought for him to be there just so that she had to fight not only for her career, for her family, and for her husband, you know, like all of these things at the same time. And it's really, really hard. So I actually like Nicole Kidman, but I do think that our two supporting actors kind of stole the show for me sometimes.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons and Nina Arianda, Fred Nethel, William Frawley, and Vivian Bates.
Each other. A lot of people didn't know that, so I like
they
that
did.
They showed it.
Their age difference was not just in the show; they were literally decades apart in real life.
Yeah,
and no, they did not get along at all. They dealt with each other in rehearsal and during tapings, and that was it. During tapings, not even tape. It's, you know, we're filming. But I think they were good when they were on screen, but you know, if we want to give them credit, they were both really underused.
Oh yeah, they were
in the film.
Totally.
I mean, J.K. Simmons actually should have been, you know, the freaking Greek chorus. Like, he could have taken everyone all the way through the movie. He could have just been there the whole time. Yeah. And that would have been a better use of his talent, because you see it in a couple spots. It's like, man, we just needed more of that.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene was when right before they're going to do the episode that they think is going to be the last episode.
Yep.
And, you know, three of them are sitting outside of the set, and, you know, Ethel, they kind of get into her character and how she's had a struggle the whole time, because, you know, back then, you as an actress, you didn't get to be in movies and on TV. It was one or the other. It was, if you have a TV contract, that's it for you until that show is over, and then you're going to cross your fingers that you have something else. And so her character, and what you look like as a woman back then was how you got more work. And they portrayed her and wanted to keep portraying her as this, you know, milk toast nothing woman. And she wanted to be pretty, and she wanted to be young, and she, you know, wanted to show that she had more, but she couldn't. And he heard her say, I think it was like, if I know the story right, like the second day on the set, that she was just set up with this old man that's, you know, going to take her down. And he heard that. And so then he talks about how when a man hears that he's old, it just, you know, it takes their soul away. So it shows how they're both struggling, and that their fighting almost had nothing to do with each other, but about the fight that they have with Hollywood to stay relevant, as Lucy is also doing the same. You know, she's trying to stay relevant and move her show forward, and they all might be done that at that moment. To me, that was like the most heart of the movie.
Yeah, and again, that's where he really shines.
Yeah.
And it's like I wanted more of that throughout the film.
Yeah.
That really was, that's the scene where they both got the best use.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it just kind of underscores the fact that they didn't use them enough going through the film. They each had like one other scene apart. You know, she had her scene in the dressing room after the breakfast offer with Lucy, and then, you know, he took her to the bar and they had that scene early on, but that was it. It's just like everything else was just passing through, and those two insulting each other and passing, or not even to each other, just, you know, through other people in the same room. So yeah, they were underutilized, and I think that was not detrimental. That the movie would have been that much better if they'd have been better used. But yeah, so they're trying to say it's a weekend trying to save your show, your life, your career, everything, because of multiple. And that was what's funny. There were two scandals they were fighting. You know, the House Un-American Activities Committee, and was Desi cheating? Yeah. And it's literally the same week, two stories. You know,
well, and I have to say, I want to compare this movie to Spencer, because in a way they're the same. In Spencer, they're telling us about this very pinpointed time in her life. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, if you didn't know about her life, that movie didn't make sense to you. There was a lot of questions. Whereas this was a very pinpointed time in not only the show, but their lives. And I understood exactly what was going on.
Well, they did give us a lot more background. They kept giving us those touch points.
Almost the same length of movie.
Yeah.
Almost the same amount of characters. And I understood. So this is the difference between that. So I know that people panned us because, you know, we were panning Spencer, but it was the fact of, if you want somebody to understand a historical moment, even if you are making it dramatically different because of movie circumstances, your audience should understand what's going on. I didn't know a lot of the backstory of Lucy and Desi. I didn't. I knew a little bit, but not a lot. And I left the movie thinking, wow, I really want to go learn more because of the information I was given from this movie. Yep. I felt educated, I felt entertained, and I felt intrigued to know more. And I think that's a very successful movie when you take iconic characters. And that's what I didn't get from Spencer. I wanted it. Mm-hmm. I wanted it, but I didn't get that. And so I'm not saying that the acting was bad. I'm not saying that the movie was awful. But what I'm saying is, a film lover, as somebody who loves to go watch movies, I want to walk away from the movie feeling like I got something out of it. Yep. And I walked away from this movie feeling like I got something out, feeling satisfied with the movie.
Yeah. You know, I mean, even if some of the performances weren't Spencer, I mean, again, we didn't pan Spencer for the performances. No, we panned it for the construction more than anything. The storytelling. Yeah. So yeah, it's everything has to work. And any shortcomings in the Ricardos are the fact that it's a much more cohesive film makes up for that. Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, definitely. So I was shocked when we kind of got ragged a little bit about Spencer, but that was just I was like, what?
Very passionate about what they love, and I get that. Like the new Spider-Man movie's coming out, and I'm going to be super passionate about it.
But I still haven't seen either trailer.
Good job.
I know, so close. So close. I'm not going to make it. I know I'm not going to make it, but
I mean, we saw two very iconic movies this week, because a lot of people are very into, the Gucci family and into fashion and, that dynasty. And I do feel like leaving that movie, even though I didn't think it was the best movie, I do feel like I learned something that I didn't know about the Guccis. There were moments that I felt entertained, but there were also moments that I was just like, how long is this? I don't ever want to feel that in a movie.
No.
There have been 3-hour movies that I've seen over and over and over that I didn't feel like I was sitting in a 3-hour movie. And then there's been movies that have been an hour and 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is taking, how long have we been
Sitting here.
So
Yep.
yeah, but it's interesting that we saw two this week, that were about iconic figures. And one of them, I felt like it gave us exactly what we thought going in. And I do like to be challenged. Sometimes I like going to a movie and be like, oh, I didn't expect that. But I don't like to go into a movie and be like, what?
But it has to work.
Be feeling here. Like
Yeah.
I'm confused about my experience.
Right. So yeah, I of the two, I would recommend Being the Ricardos.
Yeah.
Over House of Gucci.
I would too.
So there you go. That's it. They let me double check my release dates for everybody so I don't lie to you. Being the Ricardos will release on December 10th.
Okay.
In some theaters, and I think it goes a little wider after that. Again, House of Gucci opens this Friday, so day after Thanksgiving, get your turkey on and go see a movie if you want. So there you have it. Val, thank you so much for coming back on. We'll have you on again, I'm sure. So, but and everyone out there, stay safe, be good, go see a movie. Let us know what you think of these two if you see them. Let us know if we're right, wrong, or just terribly horrible at this. I don't know, because apparently some people think we're terribly horrible at this. So, but till we get back to you, we've got a lot more movies coming. Val will probably be around for a couple of them. Ryan will be back for some of them. But until we get to them, stay safe, take it easy, and we'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye.